In this tutorial, I want to go over how you can use camera switching to create some cool mechanics. For this particular example, we're going to create a bird's eye view camera and switch between the third person default camera and the bird's eye view. So let's get into it. The first thing we want to do is open up a new project or an existing project. Then we're going to head over to the hierarchy. We're just going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it bird's eye view camera. And hit enter. And then within this folder, we're going to client context. So right click, create new context, client context. And within this client context, we want a camera. So go to core content. We're just going to type in camera. Going to click and drag that on top of the context, so inside it. And then we just want to change a few camera settings. So first go to position. We're going to change Z to 4500. We want to use untick users default. We're going to untick touch to player. And we're also going to add adjustable distance. So we're just going to make it 0 and 3000. Scroll down a bit more. We're just going to go to the base rotation mode, go to none. Make sure free control's unticked. And we're just going to make that -90. So that's a camera setup for what we're doing today. We then want to create a script, which we're going to call camera script. So camera switch, sorry. Press enter. Just going to drag that into the client context and double click to open. For this script to function, we need 3 important things. 1 is a reference to the camera. 2 is the key that will be pressed to trigger the function. And 3 is a way to track whether we're using the default camera or the new camera found within this folder. So let's head to bird's eye view camera folder. I'm just going to create 2 new custom properties. These will be a reference to the camera. So we'll call it new camera. And we'll click and drag the camera from the client context into this empty cell. And then we also want a string, which we'll call key to use. And the key that we want to use today is ability _extra _45, which is M on our keyboard. To find a list of all the key bindings, head over to core documentation and you'll find it under key bindings on the left-hand side. All right, now that this is set up, let's go back to the script. And we need a reference to the bird's eye view camera so we can reference the custom properties that we just created. So we'll go local root, and then we want it to equal script dot parent dot parent. So this is the script's parent. So in this case, client context is the parent of the camera switch, and the bird eye view camera is the parent of client context. So script, client context, and then bird's eye context. So let's head down 2 lines, and we're going to go back to the hierarchy and just copy these 2 lines of code. Going to paste them in here. Just change their names. I'm just going to change this one to key and ensure that we change root to replace a script because that's where it's getting this information. And lastly, let's just create a new bool called is new camera and we'll equal it false because we'll use this bool to check if it's the default camera or the new camera that's being used. Now that we've got the references and variables set up, we next want to do a few functions, or 2 functions and 1 line code. So the first function we're going to do is function on player joined, and this will need a reference from the player, reference to the player. And then underneath, we're just going to go game.player joined event connect, and then we want to call the function on player joined. So once a player has joined the game, it's going to call this function. And what we want to put in here is player.binding pressed back colon connect. And this will call another function whenever the player actually hits an input on the keyboard. And the function that we're going to call is function switch camera. Then in brackets, we need a reference to the player and also the binding that was pressed. Then we'll just, and that's copy this into these brackets so it actually gets called. So now that we've got to this stage, we need to ensure that the binding that was pressed actually meets the criteria that we set, which would be key. So if we go to if binding pressed double equals key, then we can run the code. And then we also need another if statement to check if the new camera is being used or if it's false. So first let's do if it's false. So if is new camera equals false, then we want player colon set override camera, and then in brackets we want new camera, like so. And then we need to set the is new camera bool to true. So is new camera equals true, and then return. So this return will end the function, so it won't run anything else. And underneath this we want an else if statement that does the opposite. So if it's true, then we want the camera to actually go back to the player default camera. So we go player colon clear override camera brackets, and then again the bool should now equal false, like so. If we press save, press play, we've got a mistake, which is camera switch 27 and end is expected. So we go back. So we've got to put an end after the else if statement. So just put an end there, press save, press play, and press M. We'll switch back, and it should switch back, but it's not because we made a mistake, which is A. So we'll save that, press play again, and there you have it. It switches between the bird's eye view and the player's third person view. And just before you go, I want to say thank you for watching the video. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.